Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Since I'm going to the city this weekend, I am making this video on Thursday a little bit ahead of time to get ahead on things because I'm never sure, the internet situation. The internet is good where I'm going to be staying in San Jose, but I'm going to be moving around tomorrow and Saturday, so I thought I would go ahead and do the next day's video. So anyhow, detox, detox, detox. All we ever hear and talk about in a lot of ways is detox. And a lot of times, the things that come up when you're detoxing are quite uncomfortable. They can be uncomfortable. I think the way you deal with detox can determine if you're successful on this lifestyle. I just see a lot of people going back and forth because the detox gets them every time, because I don't think they really know how to handle the detox, what to do with the detox. Everybody seems, here's a funny little thought I had. I've been thinking recently, I always tell you guys that my channel here is just an experiment. And I am the laboratory, and it's just all, you can observe what I do. Maybe I do it wrong, maybe I don't. Just look at what I eat, see the results. I need another test subject just to see if things that work for me are an anomaly, or if I'm wrong, or if I'm generalizing, or if some of the things that I suspect that cause people problems are real. So I wish somebody would just put themselves in my hands and let me just say, do this, do this, try that, blah, blah, blah. But, who's going to put themselves in my hands? I mean, look at this. But, it's not black or white. If you've gone through already detox, or if you're going through detox, a lot of times people let it get to the point where they don't know when to get off. They don't know when to hold back, just push back a little bit on the detox. It's either you're going to continue detoxing and being absolutely miserable and just barely holding on and white knuckling it, or you're going to stop and they eat something that is just way something you don't want to be eating when you're detoxing, when it doesn't have to be so extreme from one extreme like that to the other. And another problem I see people making all the time is trying to be too hard about it, trying to be like, I can make it through, I can power through, not listening to their body and doing something that will avoid a worse slip, or actually, I'm not talking about anything that's going to be a slip. You can do something that will avoid a slip, a bad slip in the future when you can't hold on with the detox anymore. If you've been eating a standard American diet your whole life and you have a bunch of toxic animal products, processed foods, inflammation, acidity in your body, when you start eating all these fresh fruits and vegetables, it's going to stir a lot of that poison up in you, and then as your body's expelling that, you don't always feel very well, during that detox. But I think when that detox becomes a little bit too much, there's small things we can do. I mean, depending on what you're doing, there's always a way to pull back from. However, I'm not going to get into the water fasting because that's something I don't have clear opinions on anyway, and it's something that I don't know if somebody is going to do it. They probably need to do it under supervision. But water fasting is just not a modality I use. But there's ways of pulling yourself, there's always a way of pulling yourself back from the detox a little bit. In other words, let's say you're doing a juice fast. You're doing a juice fast. We'll go to something a little, you're not doing a long, super long-term juice fast. But you're doing a juice fast, and you're starting to get to that point where you're bugging out a little bit. Things are getting a little bit, you're just kind of getting that shaky. Something's coming, but you don't want to admit it to yourself. You want to power through. You want to show that you're strong. You're going to do this. But sometimes I think, maybe all it would take would be to eat a piece of fruit. It's not like you're going to totally blow yourself out of the water. It's not like you're going from doing juice feast, juice fast, and then you eat a whole piece of fruit. That's going to totally just like gunk up your body. All that's going to do is now you've got a little bit of fiber. The whole fruit, as opposed to the juice, is going to slow that detox down just a little bit. It's going to probably, it may help you. Now, just whole food may not help you. It may not take away the detox pain, the detox symptoms completely from a juice fast, but it's probably going to help a little bit. And there's layers. I'm just using that kind of as an example. You know, there's things you can add in to pull back off that detox. The greens, you know, sometimes people find that the fruit, there's more, I don't necessarily feel this, but some people find that they're getting more detox when they're not having vegetables or greens or anything. If you're just eating fruit, if you're just doing the fruit thing, you're getting too much detox, add those greens in there, add some vegetables in there. You know, this is about your health. I've always told you, I'm not about like raw is law, doing it for the label or raw above everything. Even if you're detoxing or whatever, if it ever gets really, really bad, throw some, you know, even some steamed vegetables. I would try, if you're detoxing though, if you're kind of new, I would definitely stay away from the steamed starches during that period. I would really try to stick to stuff that, you know, like broccoli, cauliflower, maybe like things like Brussels sprouts. I'm in the cruciferous family today, but just something, you know, just some cooked, steamed vegetables might, you know, might pull you back a little bit. In other words, but I might even say though, if you're really hurting, if you have to, even a steamed sweet potato or something. The point is not the particulars here, but the point is the mentality. You have to become acutely aware of your body. You have to become acutely aware of how food affects your body. Now, see, me, what I would suggest in that situation, but I'm already past that, and I kind of am in tune with my body now, is just flowing back and forth. Don't do anything drastic. You know, I've talked about that before when you're talking about making changes in how much food you're eating. Don't cut 1,000 calories, don't add 1,000 calories. Go in smaller increments, play a little bit, see what it takes. See what's the minimum to pull you back from detox hell. Try to do the minimum. Okay, you're going through bad detox, or you need to pull back from the detox a little bit. What is the minimum that you need to add in to what you're doing just to pull those symptoms away and to keep as much detox going as possible? And like I say, if you will just play a little bit, don't freak out. You know, look at this as kind of a puzzle to solve. Look at it as a mystery that we're always working on. When you start feeling a little, when you don't feel that good, or when something's not working, or you ate this and it didn't do right, don't freak out and start, you know, losing your shit everywhere. Just work through it. You know, try some things, experiment. This is always going to be an experiment for me. I find new things every day. I find myself evolving in not completely different directions, but in different directions every day. I'm always learning. I'm always adapting. You should do that too. And that takes a lot of, that takes paying attention to your body. It takes experimenting. It takes trying different things out. But the takeaway on this is just know it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't, and you shouldn't let it get to that point. If you know, maybe think about this message you can take from this. If you're having a problem, you constantly fall off, you start detoxing, if you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, for God's sake, I don't understand why anybody wants to. Like, you have people talking about, they're like detox specialists. I ain't going through detox 30 or 40 times. There's no fucking way on that. That's nuts. But, you know, so don't be so drastic, and don't let yourself get to that point where you're going to freak out and you can't hold on anymore. You know, before it gets to crisis stage, add something in, eat something else, eat something more substantial, and try to slow down that detox a little bit. But anyhow, just my 2 cents worth. Hope you guys like this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and hope you're having an awesome day. Love you guys. Peace.